The Widow in the Alley. The city of Koraven was quiet at night. Buildings stood broken, lights flickered. The war had ended months ago, but the damage was still fresh. Humans and aliens lived side by side, but trust was rare. Davin, a human supply worker, walked down a cracked street. His boots crunched over dust and glass. He had just finished delivering medical boxes to the outpost and was on his way home. He heard something, a sound. It wasn't a scream, not a shout. It was soft, sad, like someone crying. Davin slowed down. He turned his head. The sound came from a dark alley. He stepped closer and saw them. A woman, thin and tired, sat on the ground with two small children in her arms. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. The children looked like her. Same color, same small horns, but weaker, thinner. One of them coughed. A dry, painful cough. Davin stopped. "You okay?" he asked. The woman looked up, slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. She didn't look afraid. She looked broken. "We have no home," she said in a quiet voice. "No food, no family. Please, help them." Davin looked at the children. Their clothes were torn. Their faces were dirty. They were shivering. He reached into his bag and pulled out a food bar. "Here," he said. The woman took it but didn't eat it. She broke it into pieces and gave it to the children. They ate fast, like they hadn't eaten in days. "You're their mother?" Davin asked. "Yes," she said. "I am. Or was. I don't know anymore. My name is Varel. I was once mated. But my mate died in the war. After that, his clan threw us out." Davin frowned. "Why?" "They said I brought bad luck. That his death was my fault. That I am cursed." Her voice shook. "I tried to find work. No one would hire me. I begged. They spat on me." The children leaned against her. One fell asleep in her lap. "I don't want pity," Varel whispered. I want my children to live. They deserve a future." Davin crouched beside her. "There's a shelter downtown. They won't take us," she said. "They call us unclaimed. That means we have no clan, no support, no rights. We're not even people to them." Davin looked at her face. She was beautiful in a quiet way, but there was so much pain in her eyes, so much sadness. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. She looked at him, full of hope and fear. "Take them," she said. "What?" "Adopt them, make them yours. I know it is a lot to ask, but I've seen humans show kindness. You're not like the others. Please," she paused, tears falling. "Take them, and take me too if you must. I don't care about pride. I don't want to die in the dirt." Davin didn't know what to say. He had never adopted anyone. He wasn't rich. He wasn't even important. He was just a worker, a man who moved boxes and followed orders. But those kids, they reminded him of his niece back on Earth. The same tiny hands, the same sleepy eyes. He looked at the cold ground, then at Varel, holding her children like she was trying to keep them from disappearing. "I can't promise much," he said. "I sleep in a cargo unit. It's small, not warm, but it's safe." Varel looked up, stunned. "You mean it?" He nodded. "Come on, we'll get you warm first, then figure out the rest." She stood slowly, one child in her arms, the other holding her leg. She looked like she might fall, but Davin offered his hand. She took it. They walked out of the alley together, one human, one alien widow, two hungry children, a broken family walking towards something new. Neither of them knew what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in a long time, Varel had hope. Davin sat on a broken chair inside his small cargo unit. A heater hummed, weakly beside him. Varel sat across from him on a folded blanket, her children asleep in her lap. For the first time in days, they were warm. She looked tired, but calm. "You want to know where I came from?" she said softly. Davin nodded. Only if you want to tell me. Pharrell stared at the metal floor, then began. I was born in the fire season. My planet Relevant has 2 suns. During fire season, everything burns, trees crack, water dries. People stay underground. Only the strong survive. She brushed her hand over the sleeping child's head. I was not strong. Not then. But my clan kept me safe. Her voice grew distant. Then came the humans. You didn't attack us, you helped. You brought medicine and tools. We had never seen such things. My people were confused, afraid, but curious. Davin stayed quiet, listening. I was a translator, she said. I spoke your language better than most. That's how I met Karel, my mate. Another alien? Davin asked. She smiled. Yes, a warrior. Brave, proud, kind. He was assigned to protect the human embassy. He didn't like you at first. Said you were loud and careless. But I saw the way he watched you. He was learning. She sighed. He fell in love with me. We mated. He said I made him better. What happened to him? Davin asked gently. She looked up, eyes shining with pain. The war. There was a long silence. He died protecting humans. Your convoy was ambushed. He stepped in front of. A blast meant for your ambassador. Davin leaned back, stunned. He saved one of ours? Varel nodded. And for that my clan turned against me. They said I had changed him, made him weak, that he died a traitor's death. That's not fair, Davin muttered. No, she said, but it's how our world works. Clan is everything. Without one, you're nothing. She looked around, the small space. After Carol died, I was thrown out. I begged his brothers for shelter. They said I brought shame. Even my own sister shut the door in my face. Davin clenched his jaw. And the children? They were born after he died. I raised them alone. At first I found scraps, jobs here and there, but then Karel's debt collectors came. Debt? He borrowed funds for my health during pregnancy. I didn't know. They said if I couldn't pay, they would take the children. Sell them. Davin's fists tightened. I ran, she said, from planet to planet. I sold everything, clothes, tools, even my hair to keep them fed. And then we ended up here. She touched her arm where the skin was bruised. I tried to sell blood to feed them, but no one wanted alien blood. She gave a sad smile. And then, you. Davin felt a strange weight in his chest. He looked at the sleeping children. Their cheeks had more color now. They were breathing better. You've been through hell, he said. I'm still in it, she whispered. No, he said. Not anymore. You're here now. She looked at him, confused. I may not be rich, Davin continued, but I don't turn away people who need help. I don't care about species or clan. You're a mother. That's enough. Her eyes softened. Why? She asked. Why are humans like this? Why do you help strangers? Davin thought for a moment. I don't know. Maybe because we've been the stranger before. On Earth there were times when we were broken too. And someone helped us. We remember. Varel nodded slowly. You're kind. You're strange. But kind. Just then one of the children stirred and whispered, Mama, I'm not cold anymore. Varel kissed his forehead. Sleep, little star. Davin stood and went to his small cupboard. He pulled out an old box of food pouches. These are human meals, not great but filling. He handed her 2. She held them carefully. Thank you. Davin looked out the window. The night sky above the colony was dark, but dotted with stars. There's still a problem, she said. What? Those who hunt me. They won't stop. They will come. They always do. Davin's jaw tightened. Let them come, this time you're not alone. The morning air was dry and cold. Dust floated in the light breeze as Davin pushed open the gate to the city shelter. Varel followed close behind, her children wrapped in one of his old jackets. They looked cleaner now. Fed. but fear still sat in their eyes. The building ahead was tall, metal, and gray, no windows, no warmth. A large glowing sign above the door read, "Shelter access for approved citizens only." Davin sighed. "Just let me talk. I've been here before." Varel said nothing. She held her children tighter. A metal door slid open. A voice from inside barked, "State your name and purpose." Davin stepped forward. "Name, Davin Kaur. I'm registering a family for temporary housing. Emergency status." A guard stepped out. He was human, with armor and scanning eyes. He looked at Davin, then at Varel and the children. His lip curled. "They're not registered," the guard said coldly. "They need help." Davin replied, "They're unclaimed. They're with me now." The guard scanned Varel's ID chip. It blinked red. "No clan, no papers, no sponsor record. These kids don't even exist in the system." "They're with me," Davin said again, more firmly. The guard narrowed his eyes. "You know the law. Shelter doesn't take in unclaimed aliens. It attracts trouble, disease, debt collectors. This isn't a charity." The smaller child began to cough again. Sharp, painful. Varel bent down and patted his back. She didn't even argue. She had heard this all before. "Just a few nights," Davin insisted. "Until I find a way to process them properly." "No." The guard's voice was like metal. "They don't belong here." Davin stepped forward. "If you turn them away, they might die." "That's not my problem," the guard snapped. Varel turned, her face unreadable. "We should go," she whispered. Davin shook his head. "No. Wait." But Varel was already walking away, her children close beside her. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just walked, like someone already used to being invisible. The door behind them hissed shut. Back at Davin's cargo unit, the mood was quiet. He placed a warm cloth on the sick child's forehead while Varel boiled water over a small heater. "I'm sorry," Davin said. Varel looked at him. "Don't be. This is normal." "It shouldn't be." "I know." She stared into the bubbling water. "When you're unclaimed, you're not a person anymore, not to the law, not to your people. You can scream and cry, but no one listens." Davin sat down beside her. "There must be a way. Paperwork, legal path, something." "There is," she said. "But it takes money, sponsors, time. We have none." Silence hung heavy in the air. Then a quiet knock echoed from outside the unit. Davin stood quickly and opened the door just a crack. It was a tall alien male. Heavy coat, hood covering his face. "You Davin?" the figure asked. "Yeah. Who's asking?" "I saw you at the shelter," the man said. "You walked in with a widow, and 2 little ones. You've made yourself a problem." Davin's eyes narrowed. "What kind of problem?" The man leaned closer. "That widow, Varel, she's marked. Her mate owed debts to the Goric Syndicate. Dead or alive, she's payment." "She's a mother," Davin growled. "She's done nothing wrong." "Not my concern," the man said. "I'm just the message. If she's not handed over soon, trouble will come to your door. Bad trouble." Then he turned and vanished into the dust. Davin closed the door and locked it. Varel was already holding her children close, her body tense. "You heard?" She nodded. He sat beside her again. "I'm not giving you up." "You should," she whispered. "It's safer. For you." Davin looked her in the eyes. "You asked me to adopt them. I didn't say yes out of pity. I meant it. I'm not backing down." Her eyes filled with something new. Fear, hope, maybe both. "Then we have to leave this place," she said. "Now. Before they come." Davin nodded slowly. "But where will we go?" she asked. He stared at the ceiling for a moment, then stood. "I know a guy. A smuggler. He owes me a favor." "Smugglers are dangerous. So are bounty hunters. We don't have a better choice." Varel looked down at her children, both now sleeping. She touched their heads and whispered, Then we run. Again. Davin reached for his old pack and grabbed what little supplies he had. This wasn't what he expected when he walked down that alley. But somehow it felt right. He wasn't just helping strangers anymore. He was protecting his family. Night returned, and with it came silence, except for the sound of engines and the whisper of shifting crates. Deep in the edge of the colony's supply yard, Davin led Varel and her children through stacks of old cargo containers, their path lit only by a dim hand lamp. "This way," he said in a low voice. Varel carried the younger child. The older one clung to Davin's coat. Their steps were soft but urgent. Davin stopped beside a rusted metal container. He looked around, then tapped on the side in a rhythm. 3 knocks, a pause, 2 knocks. A clicking sound followed, and a piece of the wall swung open. Inside stood a short older human with gray hair, goggles pushed up on his forehead and grease on his hands. "Davin Core," he grinned, showing a few missing teeth. "Been years. Didn't think I'd see you unless a crate fell on your head." "Good to see you too, Griggs," Davin said quickly. "I need a favor." Griggs looked past him and raised an eyebrow. "That's a big favor you're dragging with you." "They just need a place to hide. A few nights. Maybe transport if possible." Griggs looked Varel up and down, then glanced at the children. His face softened. "Unclaimed?" Davin nodded. "All right. Bring them in," Griggs said, pulling the panel open wider. "But you owe me." Inside was a hidden room, carved into the back of the container. It was small but clean. A heater buzzed quietly in the corner. Shelves lined the walls, filled with tools, spare parts, and food packets. There were 2 sleeping mats on the floor. Varel stepped in slowly, eyes wide. "It's safe?" "For now," Griggs said. "But if bounty hunters come sniffing around, you're on your own." Davin placed his bag down. "I won't stay long, just enough to figure out the next move." Varel set the sleeping child down and covered him with a blanket. The older one curled up beside his brother. Griggs watched her. "She's not like the others. She's lost everything," Davin said. Griggs nodded and closed the entrance. "You've got 2 days. After that, someone might notice. I'll ask around about transport." As the old man left through a side hatch, Davin finally sat down. Varel stayed near the children, her hand resting gently on their heads. "Thank you," she said softly. Davin shook his head. "It's not enough. You could have walked away." "I tried," he said. "But when I saw your eyes, I couldn't." Varel looked at him, quiet for a moment. "You're not like most humans." He gave a tired smile. "You haven't met many." She sat beside him, back against the metal wall. "Do you believe in fate?" "No," he said. "I believe in choices. And I choose to help you." Varel looked down. "My mate said the same thing once." "Tell me about him," Davin said. She hesitated. Then slowly she began. "Karel was strong, brave, but he had a gentle heart. He used to sing to the children when they were still in my belly. He wanted to raise them far from war. He even talked about Earth, how he wanted them to see your oceans." Her voice cracked. "He never got the chance." Davin listened in silence. He didn't try to fix it, he just stayed close, offering the only thing he could: presence. Suddenly, a small blinking light turned red near the hatch. Varel froze. "What is that?" she asked. "A sensor," Davin said quickly. He stood and looked at the small monitor. A drone was outside, scanning the crates. Griggs's voice crackled through a speaker. "Heads up, surveillance drone flying low. Might be looking for you." Davin whispered, "Stay down. Don't make a sound." Varel pulled the blanket over the children and pressed herself against the wall. Davin turned off the heater and dimmed the lights. Minutes passed like hours. The drone's hum grew louder, then faded. The monitor turned green again. They breathed. "That was close," Davin muttered. Varel didn't move. Her eyes were still wide with fear. They will find us eventually, she whispered. They always do. Then we'll keep moving, Davin said. Until we're far enough that they can't. She looked at him, trembling. And if they catch us, then I'll fight, he said simply. Virel reached out slowly and touched his hand. Why? She asked again. Why risk so much for people who are not your own? Davin squeezed her fingers gently. Because you feel like mine now. Tears welled in her eyes. She looked away, but not before he saw her lip tremble. They sat there, hand in hand, in a hidden room behind metal walls surrounded by silence and danger. It wasn't home, but it was the closest thing either of them had felt in a long time. The stars above the colony station flickered faintly as Davin pulled his hood low and moved through the shadows of the old trade district. The air smelled like burnt oil and cheap fuel. Rusted signs hung from buildings like tired flags. This was not a place for questions, only deals. Beside him, Virel walked silently, her children left hidden with Griggs in the container. She held something tightly in her hand, a small pouch wrapped in cloth. Are you sure this is safe? She asked. No, Davin replied. But it's the only way. They turned into an alley guarded by two thick-necked aliens. Davin raised a hand. I'm here for Crawl. Tell him Davin Core came to collect his favor. The guard stared, unmoving. Then one clicked his comm. A few seconds passed. Go in, he said. The doors opened with a heavy groan. Inside was a room glowing with red light and filled with smoke. Strange music hummed from the walls. On a metal chair sat Crawl, a tall alien with 4 arms and golden eyes. He smiled when he saw Davin. Well, the human who once saved my life from a burning crate. I never forget a favor. Davin nodded. I'm here to collect. Crawl leaned forward. What do you need? Passage. Off this colony. No ID. Just a quiet exit for 3, maybe 4. Crawl raised an eyebrow. That's a big ask. You running from something? Someone, Davin said. Crawl turned, his gaze to Virel. And who is this lovely creature? She stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Virel. Widow. Unclaimed. Mother of 2. Crawl's smile faded. Ah. The unclean. The hunted. Virel slowly unwrapped the cloth in her hand and revealed a delicate necklace. It shimmered with blue crystals that glowed faintly in the light. This belonged to my mate, she said. It's all I have left. Trade it for safe passage for my children. Crawl's eyes locked onto the necklace. He stood slowly and walked toward her. This is old. Relavan ceremonial. Worth something, yes, but not enough. Virel's hands tightened. It's sacred. Crawl leaned in. Then maybe I'll take something more sacred. You. Davin stepped between them, fists clenched. That's not part of the deal. Crawl laughed. Easy, human. I'm joking. Mostly. He turned back to his seat. You'll get your passage tomorrow night, Dock 12. I'll have a freighter waiting. And the cost? Davin asked, not relaxing. Half the necklace now. Half when you board. Davin looked at Virel. Without speaking, she broke the necklace in 2. Her hands trembled as she handed Crawl the first half. Done, Crawl said, pocketing it. But be warned, this port watches every move. If you're followed, if you lead the hunters to me, the deal is dead. We understand, Davin said. They turned to leave, but Crawl's voice stopped them. Tell me, human, he said with a grin. What's a man like you doing playing father to alien children? Davin paused. Maybe I was always meant to be their father. I just didn't know it until now. Crawl chuckled. Romantic fool. Good luck. You'll need it. Back. In the hidden room, the children were asleep again. Griggs handed Davin a cracked data pad. Local news says 2 bounty hunters landed this evening. Both carry syndicate tags. I don't like it. We leave tomorrow night, Davin said. Smuggler's deal is set. Griggs looked at Virel. That necklace, you really gave Hit up? She nodded. I'd give up my breath if it meant my children live. Griggs muttered. Then let's hope Crawl keeps his word. Varel sat beside the heater. Her fingers touched her bare neck where the necklace once lay. She said nothing, but a single tear fell down her cheek. Davin crouched beside her. I'm sorry. I know it meant a lot. It wasn't just a gift, she whispered. It held the last whisper of his voice. Now it's gone. Davin reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small metal tag. What's that? She asked. My sister gave it to me before she died, Davin said. It was hers, but I want you to have it. I can't. You can, he said. Let it remind you you're not alone anymore. Virel took the tag in her hand and held it to her chest. Outside, wind blew across the metal crates. The colony didn't sleep, and neither did danger. But in that small hidden space for one short night, a new kind of hope was forming. A family, torn, hunted, unwanted, was preparing to escape together, not for survival this time, but for a future. The desert outside the colony walls was silent. The sand stretched far into the dark, only touched by moonlight, and the soft crunch of careful footsteps. Davin walked fast, carrying the younger child in his arms. Virel followed, close behind, her arm around her oldest, guiding him gently over the dunes. They had left the cargo yard just minutes ago. The smuggler's ship was waiting at Dock 12. Crawl had promised them a quiet way out, but Crawl had also warned them, if they were followed, the deal was off, and now they were being followed. Davin heard it first. Hover bikes, 2 of them, fast and sharp, closing in from the rear. They found us, he said, breath tight. Virel looked back and froze. Syndicate. Keep moving, Davin shouted. Don't. Stop! The wind picked up, blowing sand into their eyes. The older child stumbled. Virel grabbed him just in time. The sound of engines grew louder. Lights began to appear behind them, 2 beams sweeping across the dunes like hunting eyes. We'll never make it in time, Virel cried. We will, Davin growled. We have to. He adjusted the child in his arms and pushed forward, his legs burning with effort. The desert gave no help. Each step sank into the sand. A sudden blast shot past them, plasma fire. It struck the ground inches away. The children screamed. Davin spun around, shielding them. Go, he yelled to Virel. I'll hold them off. No, she cried. We stay together. But Davin had already dropped to one knee, pulling out a small pulse pistol Griggs had given him. Another shot whizzed past. He fired back. The ow. Light from the blast lit up his face, and sweat, sand, and fury. Virel dragged the children behind a small ridge. The oldest child whimpered, Mama, I'm scared. I know, little star, she whispered, but we're almost free. Davin fired again, forcing the bikes to swerve. One of them peeled off to circle around. The other kept coming fast. He aimed carefully, fired, hit the bike's engine. The vehicle exploded in midair, sending the rider crashing into the sand. The flames lit up the sky. But the second bike now came from the side. Too fast, too close. Davin stood his ground, legs shaking. Then, just as the bike neared, a loud rumble shook the earth. A second blast came from behind. It was a cargo hauler, rising from a hidden ramp. Crawl's ship. Its turret swiveled and fired again, striking near the syndicate bike. The rider veered off, losing control, crashing hard into a dune. A ramp lowered. Crawl's voice came through a loudspeaker, rough and amused. I said no followers. You brought a party, but I admire your style, human. Davin didn't wait. He waved to Virel. Go, now. She ran with the children up the ramp. Davin followed close behind, barely breathing. Once inside, the hatch closed. Engines roared. They were leaving, escaping. Finally. Inside the hold, Virel collapsed to her knees, holding her sons. Both were crying, shaken, but alive. Davin dropped beside them, chest heaving. Crawl entered through a side door, grinning. You were supposed to arrive quiet. Davin glared at him. Plans changed. Crawl tossed him a flask. Drink. You earned it. Davin didn't take it. He just turned to Virel, checking the children. Are they okay? She nodded, eyes filled with tears. Yes. Thanks to you. Crawl stepped closer, holding the second half of the broken necklace in his hand. Payment received. Your passage is now official. Destination? Anywhere far, Davin said. Where the syndicate can't reach. Crawl nodded. There's a planet called Elune. Peaceful, no clans, no laws, just sky and soil. You'll be ghosts there. Virel looked up. That sounds perfect. Crawl turned to leave. You'll land by dawn. Rest while you can. As the door slid shut, the ship rose higher into the stars. Inside, Virel took Davin's hand and placed it on her son's tiny chest. He's still breathing. Still here. Davin looked at her, dust still on his face. You're not running anymore. She smiled weakly. Not running. Just starting again. Outside the window, the stars began to move. Their old life burned. Behind them in the sand, their new life waited ahead, unknown but free and together. The twin suns of Elune rose gently over the hills. The sky was soft orange, touched with pink clouds. Birds with long feathers sang in the trees. The air was warm, clean, and smelled like wild fruit and fresh soil. Davin stood outside the small, wooden house he had helped build. It wasn't much, 2 rooms, 1 roof, and a porch made from scrap, but it was theirs. Behind him, laughter echoed. Inside, Virel was cooking over a solar stove. Her younger son sat on the floor playing with wooden blocks. The older one chased a small glowing bug around the room, giggling. Davin stepped inside, his shirt damp with sweat from working in the fields. He dropped his gloves by the door. Virel looked up and smiled. You were out early. Planted a new row of llama roots, he said. They're growing fast. She nodded. The soil here is rich, like Relevon before the fire season. He sat beside her and picked up a bowl. The stew smelled sweet. She handed him a spoon. The children came running. Papa, Papa, the older one shouted. Davin's eyes widened in surprise. He looked at Virel. She smiled. He started calling you that yesterday. He said it felt right. Davin reached out and pulled both children into a hug. His voice was thick. It feels right to me, too. They sat together, eating slowly. There was no fear, no danger, no syndicate. Just peace. After breakfast, Davin sat on the porch with Virel beside him. She stared out at the horizon. Sometimes I still think this is a dream. It's real, he said. We made it. I keep waiting for someone to take it away. No one's coming, Davin said softly. They lost your trail, and we're not the same people they hunted. She looked at him. What do you mean? I mean you're not an unclaimed widow anymore, he said. You're a mother, a survivor, and I... He paused. She turned toward him. And you? I'm not just a supply worker who got lost in the wrong alley. She smiled. No, you're not. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Her name, Virel, was written in the center. What's this? She asked. A name request, he said. The Elune Council lets new settlers register family names. I want us to have one. Virel took the paper, hands trembling slightly. What name? He pointed to the top corner where it was written in bold, Virel Core. Her eyes widened. You want me to take your name? He nodded. If you want to. The kids, too. We can be a real family. No more hiding. No more waiting to be claimed. She looked at the paper, then at him. Then she leaned forward and kissed his cheek. Yes, she whispered. I want that. More than anything. Later that day, they walked together to the small village center. The children wore clean clothes. Davin held the youngest in his arms. The village clerk, a kind old woman with silver skin and bright green eyes, smiled when she saw them. New name registration? She asked. Yes, Davin said. All 4 of you? Virel nodded proudly. We are one now. The clerk stamped the paper and gave it back. Welcome, Core family. Davin looked down at the paper, then at Varel. She smiled, different from before. No fear, no shame, just warmth. As they walked home, the children ran ahead, chasing each other. Varel held Davin's hand tightly. You gave us more than safety, she said. You gave us a name. He looked into her eyes. You gave me a reason. They stopped under a tree and watched the sun dip lower in the sky. Once they were strangers. Now they were a family. Not because of blood. Not because of law, but because of choice. Because a man heard soft cries in an alley and didn't walk away. Because a woman had the courage to ask for help and love. And because two little voices whispered, Papa, in a place where no one else ever had.